Good afternoon and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 293 and I'm continuing the story of Jullanar of the Sea from 1001 Arabian Nights. Now you may remember that Jullanar was with child with the king of Persia, and she had longed to see her brother and mother and her nieces. The king had agreed. She had summoned them with a bead she threw into the fire, churning ocean and smoke, and all of these relatives of her came zooming in through the window. And they sat to eat with her as she told them everything that had gone on, how well she had been taken care of by the king of Persia. And the family suddenly got angry that they were sitting there eating his food and he was not there to greet them and keep them company. And when these people that were from the ocean got angry, fire would come out of their mouths. That's what would happen when anger flared. And we know that feeling. We feel fiery when we're angry. And when we speak harsh words, it's as if fire is coming out of our mouths. Well, the king had been watching all this from the closet that he had hid inside of. And he was like quaking in fear. What kind of beings were they? And what could they do to him? Well, Jullanar, she felt like enough had gone on. She probably sensed that her husband, the king, was quaking in fear. And so she went to the closet. She entered with him. And she said, "You see now. You see how I have praised you in the presence of my family. And you can see what I've said about you, even when they wanted to take me away. I said I would not go." And he said, "Yes, I can see that. I see now that you must truly love me." She said, indeed I do. Let's go and you can come meet them." And so out of the closet they go, and hand in hand, they walk to the table. And when Jullanar's relatives see the king coming up, they all rise and they greet him in the most gracious of ways, and he them. And they all sit down to eat and enjoy and rejoice in each other's company. What a celebration to have these new acquaintances. Their rejoicing went on for some time, and afterwards the king rose and said, I must show you to your apartments. You must be exhausted. And so off they went, and the king situated them all in beautiful apartments in close proximity to the apartment that he shared with Jullanar. And they were housed in luxury, waited upon by servants, and taken care of. Their every need was taken care of. This went on for a month, and the king would not leave their company, nor would he really attend to anything. He left the business of the kingdom up to others who he trusted, and he gave his full attention to Jullanar and the family. And at a certain point, Jullanar, after about a month, she said, my day has come. You must leave me with my mother and my nieces." And so Sayi and the king left Jullanar with her relatives, who would now help her birth their child. Whether it was a daughter or a son, we still know not. But we know what the wish was. After many hours of labor, Jullanar gave birth to a beautiful, shining son. And when the news reached the king, he was delighted beyond all measure. He came rushing into the room, held his son in his arms, tears of joy streaming down his face, he gave his son back to Jullanar and went out and called to his main servants, his main trusted chamberlains, and said, "Distribute throughout the city wealth, especially to the orphans and widows. Free the slaves who are in jail, and anyone. Let's truly celebrate in the town." So alms were distributed, food was distributed, great celebrations were had, and everyone made merry. For days the king rejoiced in such a manner. Now, he had done the same thing when he had heard that Jullanar was bearing his child. He had made sure that he distributed wealth to everyone in his gratitude to the universe for the wonderful gifts that had been bestowed on him. Well, what was the son to be called? Everyone turned to the king for this decision, and he decided to name his son Badir. Now, Badir was as radiant as, well, the sun, as cool as the moon, and had all those dazzling features of someone who will certainly rise to a beautiful stature. Each and every day, everyone celebrated this new birth, this exciting moment that had come, this new life that they all were able to rejoice in. Sa'i had at one point said to the king of Persia how precious a gift Jullanar was to him, but how equally as precious was him as a gift to Jullanar. That the two were made as a match for each other. And though many men, many kings had sought Jullanar's hand, none had fit. None were fit to be with her until him. Well, there was one day they were all hanging out and enjoying each other's company, and Sa'i was playing with his nephew, holding him, smiling at him, giving him love, dancing around the room. And suddenly, he flew out of the window, the boy in his arms. And as he did so, the king leapt from his seat and went to the window and watched as Sa'i sailed over the ocean. And once he was far from shore, rose up and then dove straight into the waters. The king was beside himself. He began to tear at his clothes, cry out. Jullanar came over to him and said, "Sire, do not worry. I love our son even more than you do, and Sa'i as well. You will do him no harm. Know that what he is doing is but a blessing." The king took some breaths, took his time to try to settle himself down. But there was this worry still inside of him. How could his son survive beneath the surface of the ocean? And we'll leave our story here to find out, did he or not? Okay, thanks for joining. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day or evening.